What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Mamaloy, back with another video, and today's video is admittedly going to be a little simpler than my other ones. I'm actually working on a video for another channel. I haven't really told too many people about it, save for those that are involved. I'm really excited about it though, and so I've been putting a bunch of my energy into that video. But I didn't want to disrespect my own channel and just disappear for a month on you guys, so I figured I'd do something easy that I could film, edit, and drop all in one day. And I also think it's arguably a more important lesson than some of my technique videos. So, going straight to the title of this video, how to dramatically increase your strength progress, or whatever I end up naming it, or quite honestly, how to dramatically increase progress in any area of your life that you want. And that is quite simply adding a healthy dose of pressure into your life. I'm going to use my own experience of training for USS Lightweight Nationals and how I think that's impacted my training mindset, my mindset towards what I believe I'm capable of in terms of strength progression, and also just how it's kept me honest to my training and quite honestly given me some of the best training results I've ever seen in my life. And while I'm kind of talking, I'll just roll up some B-roll footage of my older lifts when I first started training for Nationals and the progression to where I am today, so you can kind of see that difference. Apologies though, because most of it was filmed on a phone and the quality is, yeah. Also keep in mind that I haven't changed my body weight in coming on a year now. I've had to keep myself the same body weight to make weight for lightweight competition, so all this progression is solely training and what I believe was a huge mindset shift for me. Okay, so what do I mean when I say adding a healthy amount of pressure to your life? I think many of us could agree that we are, for the most part, intrinsically motivated to show up each and every day and train. You know, most of us aren't going into the gym and getting paid for our training time, or in some way getting rewarded for our training time. And at the same time, we're also not getting demanded by some, external entity, you have to go to the gym today. We're just all showing up out of the love of training and the love of how training makes us feel. Now, obviously, you could argue a whole bunch of different creeping extrinsic factors at play here, but we'll leave that debate for another day and just assume that the majority of your motivation is intrinsic. And this is actually fantastic. This is exactly what we want. When you are intrinsically motivated to do a certain task, you are more likely to persistently perform that behavior. Now, what I'm suggesting to kind of take your training to that next level and to increase progress as dramatically as possible is, on top of your existing intrinsic motivation, we're gonna drop a big extrinsic motivator. Now, I think the first thing that people think when they think extrinsic motivation is getting paid or receiving a reward for your actions, and that's not so much what I'm talking about. Obviously, if you can make those things happen, that's fantastic for you, but I don't think for the majority of people that's a realistic goal with training weights. And the other thing is, funnily enough, when people do end up getting paid for something they love, later down the line they kind of report that they don't really love it the same way they do because that money became a factor in what they were doing. The kind of extrinsic motivation I'm more so talking about is setting a big deadline for yourself, and a deadline that's out of your control, or putting yourself out there, putting yourself out on social media or in front of friends and family, like, I've got such and such goal and I want to get done by this date, or I've got such and such goal, I want it done by this date. Why don't we do this together, or why don't you guys follow me along, follow my progress? This is exactly what Nationals is to me. It's, you have to be this strong by this date, figure out how to get it done, or you're gonna fail. At the same time, I've also been open about my intentions to compete in Nationals on my social media and to my friends and family, and that's just further extrinsic motivation to show, when this is all said and done, that I followed through on my goal. Don't get this twisted with using impressing others on social media as extrinsic motivation. Think of this more as you're announcing your goals to your friends and your family, and now they're in on keeping you accountable to that goal, and they're not going to let you off the hook easy because they do care about you and they care about your goals and the progress that you want to make. This is how I really believe you can break some long-standing plateaus for yourself, how you can get over goals that you'd normally deem like impossible for yourself, but most importantly, it's how you can kind of change your mindset and cause this huge mindset shift in terms of how much progress you're able to make, what you're actually capable of, and keep that mindset change going forwards even after you've gone through your goal. I want you guys to understand that when I first entertained the idea of competing in nationals, I was scared shitless. I was out to dinner with Joey and his teammate from Worlds, Dan Caraway, and they're both talking about nationals and like, hey Matt, you've qualified for nationals, are you thinking about doing it? And all I could really muster out was just a nervous, yes. The truth was, before they even asked me that question, I had already looked at the nationals weight, and I had zero clue how I was going to progress myself to the nationals weights in time. Just looking over the weights, the log was 220 pounds for reps, my max was 195 pounds. The yoke, 650 pounds, the most I'd ever done at that point in time was 500 pounds. Deadlift, 550 pound axle wagon wheel. I'd not deadlifted 500 pounds yet, and my back was constantly hurting. The sandbags, I had only ever done a 200 pound sandbag. I had to do, at that point in time, a 225 and a 250, and it's only gone up from there. Legitimately, the only event that I thought I could do was the sandbag throw, and I had never done a sandbag throw, so even that event, I had no idea what to expect. But I took the time, sat down and thought about the programming that would have to go behind this, and you know, I thought, as a coach, if I had to train me as an athlete, would it be realistic for me to get these lifts in the timeline I had? And by the time I was done, I had basically just reached a point of, fuck it, I'm in. See, here's the thing. I had figured out that even if nationals ends up being the biggest failure of my life, even if it ends up being I zero every single event, I'm completely miserable the day of, the training leading up to it would be the best I'd ever experienced in my life. I knew that with nationals looming over me, every single day I stepped in the gym, there'd be so much focus, so much attention to detail, and just so much purpose every single time I stepped into the gym that my training would have nowhere to go but up. And that's exactly what happened. This has ended up delivering me some of the best training results I've ever had to date. I went from that 195 pound log 1 rep max to repping 210 pounds. I went from my back hurting all the time to deadlifting over 500 pounds and deadlifting the axe and wagon wheel at 510 for reps. The yoke, which I'd never done over 500 pounds with and I needed to hit 650, I've put 750 on my back and walked with it. The 200 pound sandbag, I've brought up to a confident and speedy 250 pound sandbag, and I've even picked up and managed to walk with a 300 pound sandbag, and I don't even need to do that for competition. I've also developed a completely new skill in throwing sandbags, which I'd never done before, and now I'm super confident about that for the event as well. All of this without ever changing my body weight, and I only have making the decision to jump into nationals to thank for this. A lot of these lifts I wouldn't have even touched if it hadn't been for nationals, and would have simply just kept that mindset of, oh, I can't do that, and moved on with my day doing the same thing that I do over and over and over. Now, regardless of what happens at nationals, I have a better grasp of what I'm capable of strength progression wise. I have a way better mindset in what I am just capable of in general, and this is way more important to me than any outcome that could possibly come of nationals. This is something I'm going to be able to keep with me way past when nationals is actually finished. Am I still nervous about nationals? Hell yes. Do I have any idea what's gonna happen? Nope. But am I damn happy with myself for what I've done to progress myself to where I am now?
You're goddamn right.
Now, as with all of my advice, I do like to add caveats, and one of the big ones here is you have to be okay with the eventuality that you do all of this training or you do all of your prep for a goal and you end up failing. That's okay, and that's actually the whole point of this extrinsic factor. It's that sense that you have no guarantee of what's going to happen. Even if you do train your ass off, even if you work as hard as you possibly could, there's still that looming factor that, yes, maybe you do fail regardless of putting as much effort into it as you possibly could have. That uncertainty constantly in the background is exactly what's going to drive your progress to a point that wouldn't be possible otherwise. And then the other caveat here is you want the stress of this extrinsic motivator to be manageable. I don't want any of you guys falling into a bad state of anxiety or a bad state of depression because of that extrinsic factor. You want it to be a challenging goal that in the end helps build you up, not just break you down. But yeah guys, that's my advice for you guys looking for that big kick to your training, looking for that huge boost in progress to your training. Pick that big goal for yourself. Give it a deadline that's out of your control, and then kind of broadcast it, put yourself out there, get that support from your family and friends, and have them holding yourself accountable to the goal as well. I promise that healthy amount of pressure is going to push you to a level you didn't know you had, and it's going to stick with you well after your goal is all said and done, and that's the most important part. But that's it for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I hope to see you all next time. Keep your eyes peeled for that special video coming out in the future, guys, and I'll see you all next time.